welcome to another episode of The Women's Game. Very glad to have you with me here today, and I'm feeling a little bit outnumbered. I am the only Cantab in this studio. I have got two girls from the Naki, which I'm feeling very uncomfortable about, I have to say. I've got Michaela Blyde and I've got Kendra Cocksedge, both legends in their field. Girls, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. We need to start. We need to get this out in the open first of all. Michaela, what happened to your shoes? Did you go to a gig or something? Did you? I know.
Look, I don't know if you guys realise.
Been very upset about it, particularly for you.
I don't know if you guys realise, but went to Snoop Dogg the other day. And oh my gosh, epic. Absolutely. So, you know, I just have to continue wearing these shoes from now on because these have touched the grounds that Snoop Dogg have walked on.
I would love to see you at a Snoop Dogg concert.
I'll put them on Trade Me later.
Kenj, so we know what Michaela's been up to. She's been hanging out with Snoop Dogg. What have you been doing since announcing your retirement? We've been seeing you on O-Picky. You've been doing a wonderful job. How's it going being retired?
Yeah, everything, I guess, but hanging out with Snoop Dogg. Still being very busy.
You'll get there.
Maybe one day. No, just really just getting back into work full time. Obviously doing some work with O-Picky that I've been loving. Bit of a challenge, waking up in the morning of a game, a bit more nervous than what I would be playing it. And yeah, just floating along and just jumping off this momentum still of the World Cup win last year and just still riding that wave.
Well, you've been doing a brilliant job at O-Picky. Absolutely loving watching you. And Michaela, look, you have been doing some things outside of hanging with Snoop Dogg. Let's take a look at the brilliant Blackfern Sevens that have been dominating overseas. We saw them here in Vancouver. 4 titles back to back to back to back. It's embarrassing. Leave some room for other people.
We love the momentum. We have to continue it. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's have a look at some of the highlights.
The HSBC Canada Sevens Women's Cup final is a go. Georgia Miller tries to go through, powering through. She's so elusive, so deceptive. Backward. But so is Maddie Levi with a try saver. New Zealand gets a penalty. What is going on? Sarah Hinney's going to score. This game gives you everything in the space of seconds. Looking for the switch with Walker, now gets the ball around the outside, just manipulated the space for her flyer down the right. Stacey Walker, the grin will be written all over her face.
Absolutely massive tackle, but New Zealand does really well.
They've got numbers and they're going to get the try. Shots on, but the support is in, and it's Georgia Miller. And Kelly Brazier will seal another title for New Zealand. It has been a week of milestones and emotions. They've had to fight and scrap, been pushed harder than usual perhaps, but they find a way through. It was this final that had everything.
What a trick. Yeah. Yes. That trophy looked like you could drink something out of that. That is for sure. I want to say a quick shout out actually to Ricky Swinell, whose commentary there is second to none. She's killing it out there. She's doing such a great job. Speaking of the women's game, also they're on the mic sometimes, and she's doing a great job. So, Michaela, you look at those highlights. I couldn't get a word out of you. You were absolutely locked in there. When you look back on those things and you hear about all the titles and, you know, you reminded yourself of what you as a team have achieved, how does that feel?
Oh, well, obviously this year we've got a massive focus on Paris, so we're stoked to obviously qualify as early as we have. I guess, like, you know, any sort of highlights that we watch, like the focus, I'm just like game mode, focus in the zone.
Is that why you don't smile?
That's why I don't smile. Plus, smiling takes energy. I don't know if you guys realise, more muscles to use to smile on the field. So I'm just frowning all the time.
So does that make me an athlete? Because I smile a lot.
Absolutely, Laura, it does. 100%. You're saving yourself, you're saving your energy.
For the smiling.
For the moments where you need to. Yeah.
Burn
Well,
calories?
I mean, you could be burning more calories, but you need those calories for longer sprints, you know, and extra tackles. But no, the girls are obviously in a really good place, and we've got some good, I guess you could call them the younger girls that have come through, really put their hand up in Dubai and Cape Town. They're stepping up in crucial positions. Georgia Miller's a classic example. She's only 19, only just turned 19, and she's by far one of the most impactful rugby players on the World Series at the moment.
Disgusting. What were you doing at 19? Not that, Laura. No, she is brilliant. Michaela, when you look at young players who are coming through the system, you're it, right? You start at 17, you've come right through. How much do you think your game has developed over the years?
For me personally, I've loved every opportunity that I've been given in the black jersey. It has just excelled my expectations from when I was 16, still at school. I didn't really care too much. I was like, oh yeah, I'll play because it's a new sport. But it's taken me across the world to places that I never would have gone if I didn't play rugby. It's given me the opportunity to meet incredible people, including the Princess of Monaco. You met her as well.
Stop.
Right?
Is that
I know.
what she like?
Like absolutely. She's not even real. She's kind of like a walking, I don't know,
Barbie.
beauty goddess. Wow. And it's like, yeah, we've met her. Like, how cool was that,
I
right?
haven't actually.
I thought you went to
Monaco. No, I didn't.
Oh, this is
right.
all
Another person you haven't met
awkward.
yet. But...
Yeah. Well, let me start listing off mine.
She's got clean shoes, and that's all we need to worry about.
Your mum.
Okay,
Your mum's
we've
not going to be
swapped
happy.
shoes. I let her use my shoes. But no, very grateful for Sevens, what it's done for, you know, the women's game, for me personally and for other female athletes, hopefully in the future.
Losing isn't any fun, but winning is hard. So when you are winning a lot, what do you do with the pressure there? Like, how as a unit do you deal with that? Because that builds up. The more you win, the more pressure that there is to keep winning, because there's an expectation that you can obviously do it. So what's that like in the Black Ferns Sevens group when you're dealing with the next tournaments?
Obviously, to get to the top is hard, but to stay at the top is harder. We have the target on our back all the time. But since 2012, we've been used to that pressure and we thrive off it, because by having those expectations or the standards of ourselves means that every single time we run it out on the field, we play the best of our ability. Obviously, winning is really good, losing not so good, so we make sure we avoid that. But even the ugly wins, we're still like, oh, we could have been better. And so by having that sort of mindset in our environment, helps us be able to still be world class on every single series that we play at. So it's a very good privileged pressure. We thrive off it and we really enjoy it.
It always seems to me those ugly wins are the ones where you actually learn most about yourself and most about the team. Kenj, for you, what was in a pressure cooker environment? Again, you know, Kiwis were good at rugby. You're right, Laura. Good at rugby, so there is a pressure there. How did you cope with it?
Obviously, the Black Ferns 15s have been so successful over the years, and then 2014 we got kicked out of our World Cup, beaten by Ireland, and then that just gave us that more motivation to go into 2017 World Cup, and then it almost leads into 2021, our end of year tour. You know, we got thrashed by England and France, and to turn it around and have a World Cup at home, to be able to actually showcase the team that we are and turn that around and win that was massive. And you know, like Michaela said, it's a privilege. You've got to, you know, embrace that pressure.
How have you developed in terms of training and how you take care of yourself as an athlete?
After Rio being selected as a travelling reserve, I said to myself, there is no way that I am having or feeling that emotion ever again. And so I trained for 3 months with Kelly Brazier and Corey Sweeney and got absolutely thrashed. I improved my bronco by a ridiculous amount. And then from then onwards, after Rio Olympics in 2016, I've been consistently on the World Series, and I've just simply put it down to working hard and being stubborn and not wanting to miss out. By having that attitude and that mentality, I understand now what it means to go from here to then being up here and being someone who's consistently been on the World Series.
How important is it to still have your own identity and be so secure in the way you want to play your rugby, but still work it in a team?
I think that mindset that Michaela was talking about when she was younger and her parents telling her to go out for a run and whatnot, and you just build that resilience. You know, for me, I was a player that sat behind Emma Jensen for 9 years in the Black Ferns, and I'd get 2 or 3 minutes every game, and then to kind of finish my career on the way that I have is credit to just working, you know, in behind and just soaking it all up, learning as much as you possibly can.
I want to ask one question before we go to a break, though, off the back of what you said there. How important is it when you are an athlete to remember that that's not all you are?
A lot of people have said to me, oh, what are you up to now you're retired? I'm like, well, I'm actually going back into my job that I've been doing for 6 years. You know, people not realising that I had that outside of it, and I personally have concerns for the young ones coming through, because obviously 16 in the team, you know, same with Georgia Miller, young, straight into a full-time contract, is making sure that they have something outside of rugby once their, you know, career, because any stage your career could end. Touch wood, it doesn't, but you know, like you just never know, and it's challenging. But at the same time, I've really loved the fact that I've had to work and train, because it's actually taught me a lot.
Are you at that stage where you of your career that you can look at it and go, actually, I do need to get a few more things on the boiler here, or just one more, so I feel like it's not all wrapped up in being this brilliant Sevens player that you are?
So you told me she was taking your job when you're.
I want your job, Laura. We'll swap seats,
Swap
eh?
seats.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
What sport did Laura play?
What
Rugby.
sport can I play?
So, Laura, when it comes to your job at the moment, you're obviously balancing mum life, you're balancing wife life. What do you do to step back from all of that, though, and be able to just relax, be able to be like, OK, what am I going to do today for Laura?
It's called wine.
Nice.
And I get up before the kids get up and I go to the gym. That's what I do in the garage.
So you're
in the
an
garage,
athlete.
that's
I'm an
right.
athlete. Did you not?
Athlete.
I'm an athlete.
You're a smiling athlete.
Yeah. I'd like you now to look down that camera there, camera 1, and just say we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Opiki.
OK, so we're just going to take a short break here at the women's game. Don't go anywhere, though, because we've got some really cool topics coming up. So sit back, relax, and we'll see you in a few.
Welcome back to the women's game. I have pinched my chair back from Michaela Blyde, who's trying to take it over from me.
I lost my job already. Good start, Michaela.
Good job. I had to really give her a squeeze to get out of her as well. Kendra Cocksedge also on the couch with me, and we've been seeing some great rugby already in Opiki. Let's take a quick look at the highlights from the weekend.
Off the top quickly, Dellinger. Sabritsky Nafatali. Another attacking kick, Stevens. Daly on the end of it, perfectly executed. What a finish by the post. So Rakatau at the front of the line out. Crystal Murray shows the ball, offloads off a double pump for Nang Wu. Nang Wu gets the second try. Now a little shot ball, a half break. And the offload off the ground. The right foot step, there's the try. The Blues have been looking for. So they don't need to take any risk as Maleapo delivered a beautiful inside ball and then a lovely left foot step. And they will put the icing on a wonderful performance over the Hurricanes. 31 points to 22.
Another close one in Opiki. Actually, both matches over the weekend were close ones. Matatu, I mean, I thought we stayed in it.
Yeah.
That was the big thing.
They're just resting, and then, you know, semis this weekend is important. So they've just been building slowly. So watch this space.
Watch this space. Watch this space. But on the whole, the quality of rugby that you're seeing, do you feel like it's got better from last season, especially off the back of the World Cup final and everything, and everyone really getting into it? Are you noticing a lift or a shift in the way we're playing rugby?
I think there's a couple of teams that have adopted the way that we played for Black Ferns, from the way that Smithy come in and kind of coached us, and you can see the Blues trying to play a little bit more of an expensive, on top, what we call it, kind of game. And, you know, you see there with the crossfield kicks, the offloads, the decision making is just growing so much, not just in the last 12 months, but probably the last 3 or 4 years. And I love watching that, and it's actually exciting rugby.
So, Michaela, let's talk about pathways, because there's been a lot of talk about things that we hoped we would see off the back of winning the World Cup here in our own backyard. What's the development pathway like for women in sevens at the moment?
In my opinion, it started off really well. We had some really good age grade pathways where girls could play for their regions, whether it was under 18s, under 19s, and then there was obviously regionals and nationals that you could play at the end of the year, start of the next year. However, we don't have regionals and nationals anymore. So for girls to be identified for sevens, probably the most consistent tournament would be Condors. However, Condors are 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and to bring those young girls into our environment where they have no idea what it means to be a professional athlete can be a little bit tricky. It's great for the game. It's really great for the growth of game and, you know, for 15s as well. But then we've got this awkward age gap of girls from maybe like 20 to 24 where they have to rely on 15s, but they may not want to play 15s. They may want to be sevens players. So we need to have a little bit of a hooey about that, a little bit of a work on there with those girls and boys who are, you know, passionate sevens players. They want to travel on the World Series, want to go to the Olympics, but what are going to be the consistent pathways that they can confidently go into, knowing that they'll be identified to potentially come into our environment? It's a work on. There is something in the background going on at the moment where smaller rural communities and iwis can bring together a team, and hopefully that can, you know, be concreted in the future to hopefully then identify those girls and boys who are passionate sevens players to come in our environment. But after Paris 2024, there's going to potentially be some spots that will be up for grabs, and we need to have some players who are, you know, keen, ready to be in that full-time environment and be some, you know, incredible sevens players to then prepare for 2028.
You said
not
that
announcing your
politely
retirement.
because you said that before that they're having a clean out. That's really polite that you've...
I said it in a professional way on TV.
I was going to ask if
Yeah.
she was announcing a retirement.
Yeah.
I thought that was the...
I'm not announcing
You're
anything
announcing
at the
anything?
moment. No, absolutely not. You know,
because I've heard some things.
You heard things before I heard things, Laura.
Just trying to put
That's why
pressure
I
on
want your
everyone
job,
involved.
because
Yeah.
you hear the gossip before anyone else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Finger,
my
pulse, hello. Except none of it was true, which was a bit of a shame. But Kendra, when you look at the pathway for 15s, obviously we've got Opiki and there's been a lot of chat around it just not being long enough and there not being enough preparation time, and because there's the inability to have everyone as full-time athletes, it's hard. It's hard on players. What do you think, from all the conversations that you've heard that have been had, what do you think needs to happen from here?
I think it needs to go to around 2 rounds. That definitely needs to happen, and no doubt that will happen in the future. And whether or not there's some teams outside of New Zealand too that might want to trickle into that in the future, or maybe a Moana Pacifica team would be really cool to see. We've got to, with this momentum off the World Cup, there's so much that we've got to keep there. Now the sevens obviously always been successful, but they're 4 tournaments in a row. It's just, you know, so exciting at the moment for rugby. And, you know, Harley told me before she actually wants to play rugby.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
She's Ruby 2 in the backyard. And when I said I was Sean Fitzpatrick, she was like, what? And I was like, oh.
Who's that?
OK, fine. Show my age, it's cool. But I think I might have a solution, actually, for who might come through in the sevens. I think we have some footage of it that we could show you just here as an idea for you of someone that you could get in the mixer.
11-11, the Australian record. Away, Anang, well, she got a good start, but she's a bit of a loper. Hobbs has run well. Anang has got some work to do. Have a look at Hobbs. Hobbs is in a hurry here. Lewis running quickly. Hobbs down to the line, 10.99. 10.99, the wind is plus 0.5. We'll wait for the official time, but the time at the moment starts with a 10.
Wow, Zoe Hobbs has broken 11 seconds. Please let it stay there, and it has. It's been rounded down to 10.97.
So, I mean, I don't know much about much. She's a knacky girl, so she'd fit right in here.
Absolutely. She needs to be
Get her
right
on there.
smack bang in the middle.
She's in an ice bath still. Don't run that fast.
Okay.
Recover that
Yeah,
quick,
true.
I wouldn't imagine. But now you have actually spent some time with her, and you said if she actually wanted to win a medal, she should come play sevens.
Yeah, I used to do athletics back in the day, and she's a couple years younger than me, so I haven't actually raced against her many times, but I have once. My last race I actually had in Inglewood, and she beat me, and so I quit. I was like, oh, really?
Zoe
that
Hobbs.
sucks. I'm a sore loser, as you can tell.
You?
But yeah,
No,
not at all.
Didn't think that at
Not
all.
all. But yeah, you know, just the subtle look. You want an Olympic gold medal? Come play sevens, and got the no. But that's fine. That's okay. We've still got
wasn't no, not
plenty.
ever.
We've still got plenty of years to come. But you know, like looking at that race just then, if she raced that, I believe you were saying before, if she raced that time at the Olympic Games, she would have got 5th. You know, and so Athletics New Zealand, sign her up. Take her to the Olympic Games in 2024.
Girls, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It has been such a privilege having you guys on the couch with me. You are great female role models in this country, and raising a daughter, people like you are so important. So thank you. Thank you for all that you do, and I'm so excited to see what's next for you both.
Thank you.
so
Go
much.
Matatu.
Go Matatu.
Go the Chiefs.
They're going to win, and it's
Chiefs
going to be
Manawa and the Black Ferns Sevens.
Sorry, we just turned your microphone off there. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk boxing. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Women's Game. I am very lucky on this week's episode that I have got some incredible women on the show with me, none more so than my next guest, Mea Motu, and for the first time in the history of Fight for Life, there is a women's boxing bout that is going to be the main fight, which I'm so excited for. Congratulations, first of all, I need to say, Mea. How are you feeling in the build-up to this big fight against Canada's Tanya Walters?
I'm feeling really excited. I can't wait. I'm getting a bit impatient. I've got like 6 or 7 weeks to go, so finally been waiting.
At this point of when you say you've got 6 or 7 weeks to go, at this point in your training, what does a day in the life for you look like?
Very full on, very full on. I have 5 children, so I have to try and manage 5 kids and fit in training and work at the same time in one day. So it can be very stressful.
Anyone who says women can't do everything is not a woman. Because that's incredible. 5 children, that's a lot. That's a whole hand's worth. And I've got 2. And well done you.
My children stress me out. I've got the gym.
Yeah. That's so good. I need to go to the gym more. I think that's great. But when you are training for something that can be so intense, as an athlete, and I think in probably any sport, do children allow you, I guess, a little bit of balance? So you go, oh, it's not the be-all and end-all because you've got your kids.
Yeah, definitely. They're my biggest inspiration is my children because what they've been through and what they've witnessed, and like I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for my children. They saved my life, so all credit to my children. They are my strength and my courage. It just makes me emotional just thinking about it.
As a mum, I'm just sitting here watching and how... I think we should talk about boxing. Do they want to be like mum?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, damn.
I know. My son, my oldest, he's a professional lawn bowler, so...
Oh, that's okay. All right. Well, there's a bit of sporty stuff running in the family there.
Yeah.
So quite different to boxing. Have you had time to think about who you're stepping into the ring with?
No, I don't get time for that at all. I leave that for my coach.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're like my coach, him and his wife, and then his brother, and then also his son. Those are all my coaches. They just all sit down together and negotiate with each other. But our coach, Isaac, is the main head coach, so he oversees everything, and I trust him 100%.
So you've obviously had an awesome run-up to this fight. How did you get a world title fight? How did you get to this point? Like, it's been a process, obviously, to get there. You've got to have a lot of knockouts. You've got to put in some hard work. What's the journey been like for you?
The last 2 years since I've walked into peach boxing, best thing that's ever happened to me, besides having my children, like, my coach is the #1 drive. Like, when I walked into his door and he was like, "You're going to be boxing," and I was like, "Okay, yeah." I thought he was joking when he said I was going to go professional because I was only wanting to do it for fun. And the first thing he said to me, "You're going to be a world champion." And I was like, "You're joking, right? You haven't even seen me fight yet." And he was, and look at me now, I'm fighting for a world title.
You are lovely. But then you're going to go and you're going to try and just get 2 on on your opposition, which I appreciate and respect. But where does the killer instinct come from?
Different, my strength and why I'm so determined to win and I don't fear anybody is because the life I've been through.
You've been very open about your past and your journey. How have you turned that around? What you know, because that takes a lot. It takes a lot of mental strength to do that. How have you done that?
Definitely would have to be through my gym. They've made me come so... Because I was such a person who just had walls and barriers. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I even struggled to talk to my family because it was the embarrassment and shame that I had for myself. And being at my gym, they were just really open, and my coach was just like, "Who cares what people think of you? Be yourself. I just want you to be you." And my barriers just slowly dropped. And then he kind of found a way of how to use what I've been through and put it in the ring. I'm always like, before I walk out to the ring, I'm always thinking, is this girl going to test me? Is she going to give me her hardest punch? Because I love it when, like, people will say, like, that's kind of stupid how you like getting hit. But it's because I've never been tested. So when someone does hit me, it's like, yeah, I find another energy. So if you hit me really good, I'm like, okay, now I'm even more angry. Let's go. But I'm angry in a happier way.
Yeah, that sounds not scary at all. Yeah, 15-0, so it doesn't sound like many people have challenged you so far. But I'm very much looking forward to Fight for Life, for Fight Night for you. Are you nervous?
No, I'm never nervous. I get more nervous for my team.
The other girl needs to be very, very nervous. If I was her, I'd be just looking at you, this big, beautiful smile, and I'm, damn, girl.
That's how I walk in the ring, though, with my smile.
It is a world title fight. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. How are you coping with that pressure, knowing that, hearing that over and, you know, that's now how you're being introduced as you prepare for this world title fight? Does that mean, it obviously means a lot to you, but does it mean anything to you? Do you know what I mean? Is it weighing heavy on your mind?
It hasn't hit me yet because I'm so excited for my teammate because he's fighting for a world title before me. So I'm like, okay, all the pressure's on. I'm pushing all the pressure to him, David Light. So I'm like, nah, I'll push it to you. And then once he's got his, then I'm gonna feel it, because I'm more nervous for my teammate, David Light, who's like our captain. He's a beast when he trains. So I'm always trying to compete with him.
Obviously, it's a healthy competition in the gym.
Yeah, that's why I don't think I fear, because I'm surrounded by males as well. And I'm just like, I'm always trying to beat up the boys.
Yeah.
The boys treat me equal. They don't look at me as a girl. They're like, no, if we can do what we can do it, you can do it. So that's the attitude we have in the gym.
Your opponent better look out, man. I've said it once, I'll say it twice. So I know you said you don't know a lot about your opponent. You've left that to the coaches, but there are a couple of things, though, that they've mentioned already in the build-up that you are looking out for when it comes to Tanya?
I know that she's a strong opponent. She's tough, but not as tough as me.
Them some fighting words, and it's exciting. Fight for Life, April 27 in Auckland. Mea Motu, do not forget this name. World title fight is coming up. Congratulations on all you've achieved so far. And I do mean all of it. The 5 kids, the 15-0, you're incredible. What an amazing woman. Thank you so much for your time. I'm surprised you've been able to fit us in today. So thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're a legend. Right, we are going to be back next week. Another episode of The Women's Game coming up. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you soon.